So there we go. All right, guys. So today's agenda, and this is really kind of general guidelines, probably won't be too specified to this, but we are here to drink coffee and chit chat about who I am, got that, who you are, and we're all creatives. That's exciting stuff. And why we're here. And then we'll get into the good stuff where I get to drink more coffee and talk about CrossFit and some other stuff. And then we'll go into some practices that we can put into practice during our days, especially with prioritizing self-care right now, is a big part of making sure we're successful and happy at this point in our lives and moving on. And then hopefully around 8:30, we'll get time to do some Q&A where you guys can hit me with some questions and I can get another double shot of espresso in me. Cool. So I'm Autumn. Nice to meet you all. I'm a graduate of the College of St. Rose in Albany, New York. And I have moved in several states, but most recently I'm from Connecticut. I moved to Denver to challenge myself as an entrepreneur. I left an awesome company in Connecticut that I loved, where I was an art director and ad and marketing, and moved here to push myself and for more experience in branding. When I moved here, I was also a budding CrossFit coach and nutrition coach, as well as an aggressively average athlete. And then enter COVID. And word of the year, pivoting. It's given me an opportunity to reflect on what I value and pivot my career to something that aligns with what I'm passionate about. So like I said, now I'm reevaluating my priorities. Grateful for every opportunity I'm afforded. I've been incredibly lucky and am currently incredibly lucky to live where I live, to have the work that I have, and experience life the way I experience it. I am a CrossFit coach as well as I work for a gym called CrossFit Omnia here in Denver. And I'm also a healthy lifestyle coach. I've kind of moved from nutrition specific, where I get questions about how many grams of protein I should eat before a certain workout, to more of a holistic lifestyle, helping people build habits that will make their whatever diet they are in more sustainable. And then most importantly, I'm a brand management and marketing strategist for CrossFit affiliates, as well as boutique gyms and other health and fitness providers. Part of this is combining my loves for fitness and design. It's something I've been trying to do for many years and have finally officially jumped into. And I think right now a lot of designers, because of the availability of remote work, are kind of looking for their niche and finding a fulfilling field that aligns with their personal passions. And while today isn't a soul-searching session, it's more of a practical toolkit, helping establish basic values and habits that could open up opportunities to finding those personal passions. And that's definitely something I would love to discuss with you if you want to reach out offline. I'm happy to do some goal setting and dig into what those passions are in a separate session. So quick setup, you'll see these toolkit pages pop up throughout the talk. What will come up here will be questions that I would love for you to respond to in the chat if you can. But you can also spend time with these on your own to reflect on. I'll be providing a PDF of the full toolkit of all the questions and resources that pop up. And I believe Sam and Lisa, while we go through, will be throwing links up into the chat for you guys as they surface. And then let's get to the good stuff. All right, so first rule of Fight Club is to never talk about Fight Club, but the first rule of CrossFit is to always talk about CrossFit. And I could not call myself a CrossFitter if I did not get you guys to drink the Kool-Aid. More importantly, in the bottom right-hand corner of this page, you'll see resources. There are resources for at-home workouts and for gyms near you. It's really important, especially right now. CrossFit gyms are doing a lot to support their community and definitely need support in return. Our gym, for example, we're doing Zoom calls, park workouts, and very slowly as the regulations are coming out in Colorado, trying to reopen, but it's a long road. So yeah, these resource corners will pop up throughout as well, and the ladies will help me post these in chat. So, leaning into some of our content today, a lot of what I do as a creative has been influenced by CrossFit, and even just my day-to-day life. A lot of the tactics that I use as an athlete and as a coach will bleed over into what I do as a creative and as an individual. So a lot of what CrossFit has taught me is that we are capable of incredible feats. My body is capable of so much more than I know, and much more than I knew in the past. It showed me that we're more than blood and bone, but we're filled with magic. We're giant walking, talking chemistry labs, and our minds and body are capable of so much more than we know, especially digging into some of the science that I've learned behind what our bodies are doing while we're working out or while we're eating, while we're sleeping. It does some incredible things. And once I learned that, for example, Matt Frazier, who's in the back image of this slide, pretty average looking dude. He's about 5'7" and 190, but he can lift about 400 pounds in a clean and jerk. And a clean and jerk is basically taking weight from the ground and bringing it overhead. So if you think about lifting something twice your weight over your head, that's pretty magical. Should not be possible, but it is. And once I learned what our bodies are capable of, I realized how valuable they are, and that they're worth taking care of, and more so than our bodies, but us as a human, as a holistic person. We are so valuable and so worthy of care. And prioritizing my self-care is the best way for me to show up and enjoy my life and to help others. We'll quickly scratch the surface about what it means to value ourselves, but I can't tell you what that is. That's up to you. It also taught me a lot about the community. We're wired to respond and excel with a community, and that looks very different right now. But CrossFit helped me find a really diverse spectrum of friends. And we all shared the love of daily self-improvement, whether that meant we're lifting or we're running or we're just having a conversation about development. And even on the days that I didn't want to work out, I showed up anyways because I wanted to see my friends. And then I felt better having gotten a workout in. And that, like I said, that does look different now because we're further apart, but that doesn't mean we can't support each other. And so really important for today, just like me showing up at the gym with people with like-minded mindsets, you all are here today to learn something, so you have something in common. Use this community, reach out on the chat. We have the Slack channel, use that to connect with one another. Building this community is a really important part of today's experience because your experience and your expertise is just as, if not more valuable than my experience and expertise today. So please, please, please put your comments in the chat, reach out to one another and build this community. It also told me that goals are achieved by taking small steps over time. We reach goals by consistently taking actions over time. And that means, for example, you don't climb Everest by jumping to the top. You hike to a base camp and take little steps, and then hike to the next camp and then take more steps until you finally reach your goal at the top. What that taught me was that everything is a practice, whether you're lifting a barbell, training for a marathon, honing a design skill, crafting a brand story. You start with the basics, get it consistent, and then move on to the next little step. It all takes practice and consistency over time. So today we'll give you some of the tools to practice daily actions and habits that'll help you get consistency. And I do want to note that goals are subject to change over time. You can have one goal, like I did when moving here, and then COVID hits and your goals change. And that's true for everything throughout your life. You can have a set line of goals, but expect them to change and evolve over time. And then lastly, courage is more attainable than you know. It takes courage to get started. It takes courage to wake up early and be here on this call and hop on video. It takes courage to walk into a gym and give it your best. It takes courage to be creative and be yourself. And especially right now, it takes courage to sit with yourself and take the time to do the digging into what you value. Creativity doesn't come in the mad rush of filling your time and doing things. It comes in that time of quiet self-reflection. So that's a really daunting task and takes a lot of courage. We need that courage to accept and explore our self-value. So our to-do list, our value. I can't tell you what your value is. That's up for you to discover. I am happy to do a work session offline, but I can tell you what it's not. Your value is not your to-do list. And while achieving goals feels great and it's wonderful to cross things off your to-do list, it doesn't have a direct relationship with your worth as a human. It is not your job or your monetary value. What matters is that you do it well and that it fulfills you. It is not your social media following. It doesn't matter if people think you're worthy of a like or follow or retweet. And it can be enlightening and healthy to consider the perspectives of others, but their opinions have no impact on your innate value. It's not your age, your grades, or your graduate level. You're never too young or too old for anything. What matters is the experience you've gained and what you do with it. It's not your ability in any one subject. For example, how far you can run or your mile time. It's the least important factors for your self-worth or anything else for that matter. But if you enjoy running and feel fulfilled by improving your time, good for you. If not, good for you. Your ability to run does not determine your self-worth. Your value is not anything or anyone but yourself. And this is very important. You are the only one who determines your self-value. And if you believe that you are worthy and valuable, you are worthy and valuable. And even if you don't believe you're worthy and valuable, my job here today is to tell you that you are. So we discussed that it takes courage to sit with yourself and explore your value. And one of my favorite FDR quotes is, courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the assessment that something else is more important. There are some wonderful discussions on sitting with that fear and being courageous enough to evaluate what's more important than that fear. For example, Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, incredible author. I think she's known for Eat, Pray, Love. She also does a TED Talk. They had a COVID TED Talk where she remoted in and discussed feeling overwhelmed, and that's okay right now, and what we can do with those emotions. So our first toolkit page, and I know I told you I didn't have the answers to these, you do, but I can at least get you started on this one. What is more important than your fear right now? And a great start is that you are. Really dig into this one, because I think as humans we have fear, and it's really easy to dig into that. but what's more important than that to get where you want to go right now? And again, if you want to post your answers in the chat, that's awesome. Please do. We also have the Slack channel. But if you want to take these offline and reflect on them yourselves, that's a great way to do it as well. So a lot of what today is focused around the courage it takes to embrace fear and discomfort. It is a very uncomfortable time right now. So embracing that and leaning into it. In the Book of Joy, one of my favorite stories is one the Dalai Lama tells about his master, one of the great masters, that when the Chinese were invading Tibet and all the monks were running into India for safety, his teacher, the last thing he saw of his teacher was him walking into China very patiently, very slowly towards the emergency. And we see this today. We see our first responders do this, and in a very real and intimate way, they are working into the emergency. As athletes and as creatives, we grow from pushing ourselves. We lean into the burn and embrace the suck, because we know it doesn't last forever. When we're working out, our muscles are literally tearing themselves apart. There's thousands of little micro tears, so that our muscles, as they recover, can fill with new growth and fill those tears and make us stronger. We lean into our weaknesses as athletes and creatives. We explore what we're not great at so that we can become better rounded athletes and creatives. And we can do this emotionally as well. Walk with curiosity and with an open mind towards those most difficult, painful emotions, or thoughts without resistance. Embrace them and sit with them. Let it cultivate. As an athlete, we have a place we call the pain cave. And that's during a specific part of the workout where your muscles are burning, you're out of breath, your lungs are burning, and everything in your body wants to shut down. And a lot of times that is the most important part of the workout, because it's whether or not you complete that workout and push through or let yourself shut down. So our next toolkit page, what does it mean to be a well-rounded creative to you? What do you need to overcome in order to be a well-rounded creative? Where is your pain cave? At what point during your work do you want to give up? And what words or actions can you take that'll help you guide you to the other side of that? So moving through, courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes courage is the quiet voice at the end of the day whispering, I will try again tomorrow. If you need a smile today, one of my favorite Disney shorts is about a small sandpiper trying to overcome his fear of the ocean. And it's adorable. It makes me tear up a little bit, but always ends with a smile. We often neglect that courage can be those small acts of standing up to ourselves, up for ourselves, up to ourselves, or even just being with ourselves. The hardest person in the entire world to be with right now is yourself. And we're stuck with it for the time being. So the only way that I learned to be able to survive that and endure my own company is with compassion towards myself, and to recognize that this is a person who's suffering from loneliness and isolation and stress. A lot of times we have clients that we give a lot of patience because they want the logo to be smaller or bigger, and they want this typeface that is awful and shouldn't be used. And we work with them with a lot of patience, and a lot of our job as creatives is to manage that. So my next question for you is, what skills do you apply to difficult clients that you haven't applied to yourself? A big part of what I do as a coach, and this is where I realized in nutrition that I wanted to move more into lifestyle and habit training, is recognizing that we have many aspects of health. It is not just your diet. It is not just your fitness. We are big balls of emotions, and there's a lot happening. So deep health for me breaks down into 6 different categories, but they're all very tightly woven together. Again, you are a whole person, and all of these build you up into that person. So relational, being connected and authentic with others, and having that sense of belonging, whether that's your community at the gym or right now the community here. Existential, feeling a sense of meaning and purpose in life, which can be really daunting and overwhelming right now, but can be broken down into little steps to make it more manageable. Mental, being alert and focused and competent. You'll realize it's not how smart you are. It's not whether you can think faster than the next person. It's very personal. Are you able to focus on the project that you're working on? Why or why not? Physical, again, it's not how fast you are or how much you can lift. Even as an athlete, our physical success varies from day to day. What matters is, are you feeling vibrant, energized, and thriving? Are you performing and functioning well? Emotional, which is a big one right now. Are you experiencing your emotions and expressing them appropriately? Are you able to understand why you're feeling what you're feeling? And environmental, which has changed a lot during these days. Knowing your everyday surroundings support your health and well-being. And that's a little harder now that we're contained in one space, but makes it a lot more practical to, you have a lot more control over this environment. And so with these different categories, you'll notice that there's 3 blocks for each. And from the center out, you want to be able to fill these. And that'll change from day to day. What I would love for you to do, and this is included in that PDF I shared, but fill in these blocks today. On a scale of 1 to 3, how are you feeling physically, emotionally, environmentally? You could be feeling phenomenal with your workout, but that doesn't mean you feel like you belong anywhere or that your mental game is on point. Your environment can support that physical aspect, but it could be hurting your mental and relational your relational health. So if you don't already have the PDF downloaded, make a quick sketch of that diagram and fill it out. Name 2 or 3 things for each category and start with the ones that are lowest right now that you can do to fill your cup in each one. And I want you to think about what makes you uniquely you. How is your perspective as a creative different? And how does nurturing these aspects of deep health help that perspective? You're the tool of your trade. So how do you keep yourself well-oiled? What does your owner's manual look like? We have a lot of updates and programs for our computer. What are those updates and programs for you? And part of this is making time for ourselves. I'm really appreciative that you guys are here because it means you're making time for yourself. There's a fantastic talk on Tim Ferriss, and if you know me, you know that I love Tim Ferriss. But he has a fantastic talk with Debbie Millman. And as if you are a designer, you know who Debbie Millman is. And part of her discussion is that busy is a choice. A lot of times we fall into the pattern of saying, I'm too busy to get this done. I'm too busy to get that done. Sorry, I can't meet up on Zoom because I'm too busy, but really you just don't want to do another Zoom call. We make time for what matters for us. So why aren't we making time for ourselves? Why aren't we prioritizing ourselves? And it really doesn't take a lot. I'm only asking for 5 minutes a day. A lot of habit building starts with small actions. And it takes, with my clients, we discuss when we're going to do that 5 minutes. And a lot of times it comes with associating it with something you're already doing. But these tiny actions become habits over time, and those habits become practices, and those practices become skills, and those skills become goals. But starting with that 5 minutes declares that you matter, and it's a commitment to you and your values and your priorities and eventually your goals. And they help us, these tiny little actions help us out of procrastinating and feeling stuck, um, and create a little bit of momentum to get us into a creative flow. If we're say we're doing an illustration and we feel creatively blocked, put a pencil on paper. It doesn't matter what you're drawing at that point, it gets you drawing. And eventually it'll get you to the point of illustrating. These tiny little actions are empowering, much more than you know, and they're satisfying and show us evidence of growth over time. So, what are things we can work on to create these habits? And I broke these down into the different aspects of health. You'll notice some overlap because, like I said, a lot of these are interwoven. But little 5-minute habits that we can incorporate during the day. And like I said, it's easiest if you associate it with something that you're already doing. For example, if you're making coffee in the morning and it takes your coffee 5 minutes to brew, take that 5 minutes, put your phone away. Don't look at it. Don't look at your emails. Don't look at your social media. Put your phone away and do one of these actions while the coffee's brewing. Or like one of my clients, she really loves watering her flowers. So she'll take that time to do a reflection. So some of the things we can do that'll start as actions and will eventually become habits. Relational. Who can you reach out to today? And it can be as small as smiling at somebody across the street, although it's hard to do with a mask on, but maybe you're in your balcony and you see someone down on the street, you can smile at them, wave at them, say hi. Any human interaction now is so helpful for our mental health. Can you call somebody? Can you send a card to a loved one? What can you do today that takes no time but has huge health benefits? There's so many articles about the health benefits of reaching out to others. And I unfortunately don't have the time to go through all of them today, but making that connection and building a community is a huge part of who we are as humans. Mental and emotional. My favorite practice is my gratitude practice, and I have a 5-minute journal that I use every day. And I'll write quickly in the morning and write quickly at night. But starting my day with something I'm grateful for, even if I'm in a terrible mood and wake up grumpy and feel like I have nothing going for me today, writing down that I'm grateful for this cup of coffee is a great way to get out of that mindset. Like I said, tiny steps create momentum. So even if you're not journaling and writing it down, take time to reflect as you're putting coffee and grinding it. What are you thankful for today? Very simple, but very powerful. Mental and environmental. Time blocking is a huge thing, especially now as we're trying to recreate some semblance of a schedule. Time blocking is very important, but more importantly, blocking your time out. For example, pick whatever fills your cup. One of the things you wrote down for the toolkit, maybe it's working out. Block that time first. Set 1 hour for yourself where nothing interrupts that 1 hour. Whatever fills your cup first will ensure that you can help fill the cups of others later. So block your time first and try to do this on a weekly basis. If you can block out your week, it'll make it a lot less chaotic. And I know a lot of meetings pop up and you try to reorganize around that. I get that as a creative and with clients' needs. But if you set your time blocks first and then say, sorry, I can't have a meeting right then, do it at another time. Make sure you fill your cup first. And right now this can be difficult, but existentially, where can you volunteer your time, your talent, your funds? Existentially, like, what are you doing for the bigger, whatever that bigger thing is in your life? And that can be hard right now. And if it's as simple as helping a local roaster out by buying their beans, that's a huge step. If you love coffee and want to help your community, buying those beans helps keep that coffee shop open. Environmentally, what can we Marie Kondo out of our life? Decluttering is a great way of removing what's unnecessary and creating undue stress in our life. For me, that's making sure there's no dishes in the sink at night. I don't know what it is, but I cannot sleep if there are dishes in the sink at night. It creates so much stress for me. So what can we remove from our environment, or what can we add to our environment that'll help us de-stress and make our work or whatever project we're doing less stressful? And physical, and this is going to be my favorite part. As a CrossFit coach, my favorite part is getting people up and out of their chairs. So if you wouldn't mind, I would love for you to join me. My roommate is going to join as well. So I'm going to back up a little bit. We're going to do some mobility. So we're going to start with really simple neck rolls, and these are all things you can do at your desk, and it should take no more than 5 minutes. So I want you to start lowering your head to one shoulder, and I only want you to go to the other shoulder. I don't want you to do a full circle, just one side to the other. We're going to do this 5 times. Good. And on that last one, we're just going to keep our chin to our chest and very lightly put our hands on our head and stretch out our neck. If you're anything like me, at the end of the day, your neck hurts from looking down at your computer and phone. Good, and come on up. The next one, we're gonna take our right arm, put our left elbow in the crook. The goal is to touch your hands. I don't have that mobility, so I'm just gonna hold on to my hand. You should feel this across your back, right between the shoulder blades. And this is called eagle. I'm gonna hold this for 10 seconds. And if you're not feeling it between your shoulder blades, I want you to take, if your elbows are up here, drop them down towards your sternum. And you should feel this on both shoulders, but mostly whichever hand is up with this one. And 2, 1, good. We're gonna do the same thing. Our right elbow is gonna come into the crook of our left elbow. And again, if your elbows are up high, I want you to drop them down low. 10 seconds. And play with it. See where that tension lies. If you need to raise your elbows or drop them down more. Good, and release. The next one we're gonna do is just a shoulder press through. And this is great for opening up that mid back, because a lot of times we have a tendency to cave in. We have a tendency to cave in when we're working on our computers. It's gonna help open us up this way. So if you wanna roll your chair back so that you can reach your table, you're going to put your hands on whatever surface you can, or if you wanna stand up and use a chair, that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna push my chair forward, and I'm just gonna press my head through with my hands on the chair. And I want you to think about sending your hips back and getting your chest to the ground. So obviously we cannot do that, but pushing your chest forward and opening up your back. I'm going to hold this position for 10 seconds. Three, 2, 1. Good, come on up. This next one, if you need to hold on to a chair, absolutely do so. But we're gonna bring one leg up, squeeze our knee to our chest, and then bring it out. Back down. And we're just gonna do this 3 times where we bring our knee to our chest, bring it out, and down. It's gonna be great for your hips since we're sitting a lot these days. And again, if you need to, hold on to a chair, but knee up and out. Or just 3 times. Then your next leg, all 4 of them, up and out, down, up and out. back down, and last one, up and out, back down. Good. And the last one for today is just gonna be a hanging step. So let's see if I can show you my legs. I want you to step over. The weight is going to be in the leg that is over, and then we're just gonna reach towards the ground. You should feel this stretch in your back leg. And if this is too much strain, come back to standing position and do the same thing. But this will isolate your legs. 5 more seconds here. And if you're mobile enough, you can touch the ground. I am not. Come on up. And again, we're gonna switch legs. That front leg is where your weight is. And come down. You should feel this in the back leg, through your knee, the back of your knee, up through your hamstrings. Good. 2 and 1. Come on up. So it doesn't take long, and it's very quick things you can do throughout your day. It's just get out of your chair and keep moving. We have a lot of habits when we're sitting in a chair, a lot to curl in. These will help open you up. One of my big things, especially with my mom, is if your body is coming in and making itself small, your mind is too. Awesome. And from there, nutrition. While I can't dig into it today, it's a big part of what I do. Something as simple as taking a picture and logging what you eat. Especially right now, we have a tendency to either forget to eat or we have a tendency to snack throughout the day. If you're taking a picture, it's simple as picking up your phone and taking a picture of what you're eating or drinking. You're going to be a lot more mindful about what you are eating or not eating. Lastly, hydration. If you think you're drinking enough water, you're not. I can tell you, you're not. Drink more water, please. It's not just to hydrate your body, but it's so good for brain function and emotions and everything that's going on in your body. Like I said, your body is one big chemical reaction and it is mostly made of water. So please drink water. For example, my roommates and I have a little competition going right now that I may or may not be winning. But we have these awesome Yetis. We all have matching Yetis. And our goal is to drink 3 of these, and whoever drinks it first wins the day. We don't know what we're winning or for how long this competition goes, but we know whether or not we're winning. So if you have water nearby, please drink it now. If you don't, go get water. Especially with the amount of coffee I have been drinking lately, I need more water in my life. And I know we went a little over, guys, but I want to leave you with a parting note before we do some Q&A. 1, CrossFit is great. You should try it. 2, give yourself some grace. Part of valuing yourself as a human is understanding that you are, in fact, human. We're gonna have fear right now. We're gonna cope by eating traditionally unhealthy foods. We're going to not be motivated all the time. Right now, there's a lot of change and it can be scary, and we're gonna feel fear and conflicting emotions and a lot of emotions. It takes courage to be with yourself and explore and value yourself and give yourself grace and to make sure you're treating yourself right, especially during this time. And if you can do these little 5-minute habits, congrats, you're cultivating courage. One of my favorite things growing up, and my mom would tell me, by the great Tao philosopher, Winnie the Pooh, you are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. And that's what I got. Thank you.
Thank you, awesome. And guys, I know we went a little bit over, but I see you are still all there. So thank you so much for staying. And this was great. Actually, I was not dressed up to do exercise this morning, which is the only day of the week when I actually dress up. So I was not prepared, but it was really nice. And guys, if you wanna write some questions. You can like put them in the Q&A chat. If you have to leave, Autumn is gonna be on our Slack channel for a bit later, so you can like also contact her directly, send her an email, connect her with her on Instagram as well. I have a question for you from David, actually. He said, how are you defining value in this context?
Interesting. So, like I started out, I cannot define what your value is. You have to. But what that means is how well do you feel about yourself? How do I word this? Do you value yourself enough to care for yourself? I mean, we all have an innate value as humans. It's whether or not we appreciate that value as a human. And value is a hard word, and it's very individualized. So like I said, I can't tell you what that value is, but you can explore it on your own. A lot of these questions are meant to help cultivate that. And for example, for me, my value lies in how many people I help and how well I can help them. Whereas somebody else's value might lie in how creative they can be with their work. And again, defining creativity is totally up to them, but how creative they can be. So it's different for each person.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a very subjective question. We have another one from Kaisley. Do you think a normal 9 to 5 work a day is healthy, and what do you think is an ideal healthy work day?
It depends on that work day. And I'm sorry, a lot of my answers as a nutrition coach are going to be, it depends. But a 9 to 5 work day can be really helpful for some people who need that consistency. But it can be really dampening for others who need a little more freedom to move around. I worked a 9 to 5 for a very long time, and as in ad and marketing, it wasn't really a 9 to 5. It was more like a 9 to 9. But the 9 to 5 work day can be broken up. A lot of times taking a 5-minute walk during that day can help break it up. And if you're able to time block that 9 to 5 and have other things outside of it that don't interfere, that can be a healthy work day. For me, my healthy work day is working no more than 5 to 6 hours on whatever work is, and then taking the rest of the time for fitness and coaching. I'll set aside a few hours a day for that for coaching outside of my creative work. So it's really, again, individualized, but I find, especially now, helping set that 9 to 5 work time, or for me, that 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Work time helps me create a schedule within the chaos. When we are out of, if and when we get out of COVID quarantine, it's really up to you, and now's the time to decide if you want that or not. And how that's changed. And I think a lot of people have recognized that the standard 9 to 5 is not necessary, and can be adjusted to work whenever you need it.
We have another question from Nikki. How do you balance passion, like graphic design, branding, CrossFit, in multiple fields while being healthy?
I'm very lucky that one of my passions is CrossFit and health, so that I am particularly mindful about my nutrition and fitness. But that does not mean I'm always healthy sleeping. That does not mean I'm always healthy mentally or emotionally. I can get overwhelmed. Like I said, deep health is a multitude of aspects. But what I can focus on is what I can control. So if that means I can control when I go to sleep or when I work, and for how long I work on each thing. That helps maintain some balance. Balancing kind of that side gig. So like a lot of folks, I do a lot of things. I try to start my own business while I'm still working a full-time job. I am trying to become a part-time nutrition coach and lifestyle coach. Balancing those means I have to reprioritize, right? So like I said, my workday has gotten smaller. And the people I freelance for understand what my priorities are. And they understand that means that I can only work for a certain amount of time with them each day. I will still get the work done and make sure that I bring value to the table for them as a freelancer. But I know my priorities lie in CrossFit and health and nutrition and helping others. So I make sure I set time aside for that each day as well.
So I have a question actually for myself. What are your first 5 minutes action you're doing every morning?
So my 5-minute action in the morning is my journaling, my gratitude journal.
Okay.
As soon as I wake up, I have it right next to my bed. So I'm not even out of bed yet. But not only is it a great way to wake up and incorporate gratitude into my day, it also just helps my brain start moving, because I have to read a thing. Each one starts with a little quote, and I have to pick up a pencil and start using my motor functions. Again, it's very little and it's a tiny little thing, but it does start getting your body moving and your brain moving. And that's my first 5-minute habit of the day.
I mean, and as you said, it's all about starting from somewhere.
Yeah. Even if you're still in bed, you're doing something.
I actually have to drink more water because I just have like coffee. But
Yep.
I was like, that's totally for myself. I was like, I don't even have water next to me. I just have coffee.
Yeah. And a lot of these they're not groundbreaking, earth-shattering things that I'm telling you, right? They're all very practical, but a lot of times you just need a reminder that, hey, drink water.
Yeah, I think most of the things is something we internally know ourselves, but you just forget because they're like so right on your face that you forget. And then when someone pointed out, I was like, damn, yes, I need water, not coffee. So anyway, we don't have any more questions right now, and it's almost 9 a.m. I want to say thank you everyone for staying so long. If you have more questions, check our Slack link, and Alton is going to be there for a little bit and to answer your question if you have more, or you can send her email or connect with her on Instagram. And we are going to send a recap email later tonight or early tomorrow morning. So you're going to have all the links and the PDF, so you have time to check them out. And some of them are like really cool, so I can't wait to see them. And I just want to say thank you again for being with us today.
Hi, Chris.
And I can hear my roommate is there, so I think it's time to close it. And thank you guys, and we are gonna see you on next Thursday. Bye.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.